Okay, so friends, welcome, and I hope you can hear my voice loud and clear. Am I right? So this is going to be the session, okay, a complete session on what is an activity. Okay, we have gone through in the last week. We have gone through this. Okay, so today we will talk about how we can work with the activities and intent. So if you are the newcomer, what you can do, my friend, if you want to create your application in Android, what you can do, you can install the Android Studio and you can go and watch my last video. There you will have an understanding of how this is going to be work. Now the point is here, when we create an application, if you look for the different types of applications available in the market, the application is basically the collections of activities. That means the collection of multiple screen. So you can search randomly, that's Android applications. Whatever you want to do means you can just check it out. Android applications, if you go for the image and let's say Facebook app, something like, because Facebook app is an epitome of Android app. All right. So here, if you go and if you want to select, if you go through the any application, you will find, let's take this particular picture. And in this picture, you can see that this application is basically is a collection. Here it is showing two screens. All right. Two screens from the same applications. So if you notice one thing, that in this application, these are basically two different activities. But this is very advanced and developed applications. And this application is basically developed by using the fragments. So we will talk about the fragments when we move to the little bit more advanced concepts. But the point is here, whenever you create your application is basically is a collection of, you can say your application is basically is a collection of multiple, what you can say, it's basically a collection of multiple activities. Okay. Now, how we can create these multiple activities? This is something that point we need to be discuss out here. All right. So the one thing is very much clear. The application is collection of multiple activities. Okay. So the application is basically a collection of multiple activities. For example, suppose let me show you one example, a very simple example. Let's try to create a frame on this so that you will have a better understanding of how things are going to work in this case scenario. Here, let me go down and let me try to create a new slide. Okay, this should be an empty slide, but not an issue. I will delete this one. Okay, or we can do one thing, we can move to the document part here. So what exactly is here? Suppose there is an application. So let's say we will try to create the same application and we will try to perform the navigations and we will try to understand the activity lifecycle. For example, suppose you have an application and this is your front screen. Okay, that means your launching screen. Actually, we never say a screen. Okay, we say this as an activity. And what exactly is an activity? Activity is basically a collection of a Java class plus an XML. And we know that, my friend, in the XML part, if you have gone through the last week video, in the Java class, in XML, what we do, we create views. For example, suppose in the XML, what we are doing, we are going to create a very simple, let's say the login screen. Okay, well, this is a very simple example, but it will cover all the basics and advanced concepts. Suppose the first one is the username and second one is the password and third one is the button that says login. Now we know that, my friends, we know that there is an XML part. In the XML part, we have taken this to edit text, that is the visual component. Okay, we will talk about more other visual components soon, don't worry. And here, this is the button. Okay, so this is the button. And when user click on this button after entering the username and password, we need to perform logic. And what happened in the back end? This logic is basically written in the Java class. And this is not a normal Java class. This is a Java class okay, that extend a class name app compact activity. Okay, so that's why, and inside the app compact activity, there are some method that I will show you. Now, suppose if a user click on this button and if it is success, what it will do? It will create a new screen. Once again, it's not a new screen, it's a new activity. Let's say this activity Java class name is login activity .java. And when this is success, what will happen? It will move to the new activity, that's the welcome. Okay, and that we will give it a name, welcome activity. .java. So this is something is called the navigation. Moving from one activity to another activity, this is called the navigation. And this particular concept is done by using a class name intent. So I am just covering the theory this time. All right. And then we will see all this. Just keep in mind that I defined here, there is a class name intent. Okay. By using the intent, we can do this. And if you want to create this complete screen, you need to extend a class that name is activity. Okay. App compact activity. And it is basically the collection of Java plus XML. The same thing will happen here. This is also going to be collection of Java plus XML. Okay. So, but the point is here, whenever you create all this kind of activities, my friend, there is some set of class that you are going to use. Second thing, there will be a lot of means life cycle behind the scene that has been go. Okay, so we will go with this example, and then first what we need to wait a minute. Okay, we need to understand this point and the concept. So here, all right, so we will talk about the activities. Pretty simple. We will talk about the activities, how we can define an activities, how we can start a new activity, new activities with an intent, and then how we can pass the data between two activities, means how we can pass the data that can be come from one activity to another activities, and then how we can perform these kind of navigation between the activity. So these are the point that we were going to cover. All right, that we were going to cover. Okay, now here, high level view of activity. What exactly? So if you want, if somebody asks you, if you're going to through an interview or something like that, and if somebody asks you what exactly the what is an activity, so you can simply say activity is a component, application component. So there are synonyms basically to be used with a component. Component is nothing. It is something a Java class. Okay, so component is basically the Java class. So if somebody asks you what is a component, application component means the component that is particularly related to the applications. All right. So here an activity is an application component. What it does, the activity represent one window. So it is not going to represent multiple window. If you want to create the multiple window, you need to create multiple activity. Okay, one hierarchy of views. Okay, so inside the activities, there is a lot of views available. That is basically be drawn in XML. We can also do this by using the Java, but that will be the very cumbersome. Okay, that is the hard part, and we typically don't do this. The third one, typically fills the screen, activity fills the screen, but can be embedded in other activity or appear as a floating window. So not only you can create an activity like a login page, and suppose if you want to show a pop-up, if you want to show a dialog inside a particular activity, that can be also done. That is also a kind of activity. Basically, the Java class, typically one activity, one file. So if you want to create the 10 activity to performing 10 different types of navigation, what you can do, you can create a 10 different Java class and extend it by using the app compact activity, and then you can do this. Now here, this is the one. And what basically the activity do, this is also something that we need to remember. As I told you, when we say an activity, the activity, what does it do? It represents an activity. For example, suppose if you are using the e-commerce applications such as ordering groceries, sending email, or getting the direction. So these three different types of application you mostly found in the market. Online groceries, or you can say the Amazon applications. In the Amazon applications, you can order something. Zomato applications, you can order something. Or mostly we use sending email by using the Gmail, or you can use map for getting the directions. So this can be also done. All right. And what it will do, it will handle the user interaction. For example, in the login page, how it can be handled the user interaction? By having an input of username and password, or by clicking a login button, or same thing, the text entry or the login verification. All right. Can start other activity in the same or other app. This is something that we usually do. Suppose in the WhatsApp applications, you can share your text not only within the WhatsApp application, but also you can share the images and pictures outside the WhatsApp applications in your Gmail or in your Facebook. Same thing you can do with the Facebook. You can share your Facebook in your Gmail, or you can share your Facebook in your WhatsApp. This is something like the interaction between the activity of one application or other application. But how this is done? This is basically done by using a life cycle. So whenever you create or write an activity code, what happened, my friend? This life cycle is basically follow: created, started, runs, paused, resume, stopped, and destroy. So this is the basic life cycle that we will discuss later in upcoming on this session. Okay, one thing I want to say you, please pay concentration. This is the docs from the Google. Okay, basically. Okay, so this will a very wonderful document that will help you. So these are some of the example of activity. These are some of the example of activity. For example, the Hello Toast, my food list. Okay, the calculator application or the map applications. These are some of the example of the activity. Okay, now how we can apps and activities are loosely tied together to make an application. So because that activity is collection of one or more activity, so you cannot couple it tightly. It should be somehow relate to each other. Okay, so whenever you launch an application, there will be an activity that's shown first to the user. For example, when you open your Facebook application first time, it will show you the login page, or inside the login page you will have the sign up page. So that is the first activity. Once the verification is done, it will open automatically the welcome page. That can be done by using the backend server. Okay, and it is not an issue. So the first activity is whenever the first activity, there should be a main activity. It is known with the name of the main activity. The first activity is always known with the name of the main activity. So activities can be organized in a parent-child relationship in Android manifest file. So we will see the manifest file and how you can do this. For example, when you have seen a lot of application, in the application there is at the top, you can see this kind of back arrow is written. So this particularly represent the parent-child relationship. Okay, so this can be also done, and this is pretty simple how we can do this. All right. Now here, okay, so layout and activity. So whenever we create an activity, my friends, we basically use a particular set of layout. There are different types of layout when you create an activities. It can be the linear layout. I will show you when I create an application. Okay, it can be a relative layout. All right, it can be constraint layout. All right, it can be table layout, or layout that you create, or you when you create and you can customize. A lot of layout, but widely used are the constraint layout and the linear layout. I prefer to use linear layout because it will give you a very simple user interface, and very helpful in writing the views or creating the user presentations. All right, now, so here how we can implement the activity. Okay, so this is the step that you need to follow when you create an activity. So I'm going to show you, don't worry. After this, we will implement this particular activity. So one by one, the first thing here, we need an application. So here you can see, this is our last application. Okay, so this is our last project. So I'm not going to write here itself, but when you create a project, as I told you in the last week, as I told you that this is the way that you can create a project. But here we will add some new activities over here. So the first thing come here when we deal with this, we need to define a layout. Okay, so once you have a project available, you need to define a layout, and then for that particular layout, you need to define a activity. Okay, and then you need to connect the activity with the layout by using a method available in the app compact activity. This method will be available inside this activity. App compact activity is nothing that extend whatever the activity that you are going to create. For example, I say the login. So login extends app compact activities, and in the app compact activity, there are many methods, and one of the method is onCreate. So point to be noted here, this onCreate method is one of the lifecycle method of activity. One of the lifecycle method of the activity. So this is something that we need to note it. Okay, so one of the lifecycle methods. So there are some more lifecycle method that I will show you, don't worry, and we will try to check it out whether it is working or not, how this lifecycle method work. Now, without wasting any time, let me do one thing. Let me try to create this concept and try to implement this concept, and then I will show you how these things will look like. Okay, so here what you can do, I'm going to create in my application. All right, and here in my application, see, first we need an activity. Now in the manifest file, as you can see here, there is already an activity available. Let it be there. Let it be there. That is not an issue. But what I will do, I will just change this intent. We will talk about the intent filter. Don't worry, when the intent concept come, I will just change it to default. Okay, or change it to anything that you want. Okay, let's say I will just change it to something like insert. It's a main, but I didn't want to be, it's a main. So what I will do, I will just remove this intent filter. Okay, we will give it a main, not an issue, but we will change this category to default. So this is not a launcher activity. Okay, launcher activity means that will run when your application runs first. Now what we can do, we will follow this step. Okay, we will follow this step. Okay, define the XML layout, define the activity class, but this both step you can perform one at a time. How? I'm going to create a new activity, and you will see the difference that new activity will be automatically available in the manifest file. So what is the manifest file? It had the manifest about your application. That means how many number of activities that you are using in your applications, what are the background services that is running, what are the different broadcasts that you are is going to be used by your application, what are the different types of permissions, for example, the internet permissions, location permissions, okay, and then your call log permissions, different types of permission will be defined here. So this is the main one. Manifest is the very main one. Although when you create an activity, when you create a service, this will be automatically updated. That is not an issue. All right, now let me do this. Let me create a new activity. So what I can do, you can go here in the Java. Okay, don't go in the test. This is particularly used to test your application. We will go out here and we will make a right click over here and go to new and see here. All right, so you can just navigate here, and here I'm going to create an activity that says the empty activity. Okay, now I will name this activity as a login activity. So as you can see, for this particular login activity, because we have checked the generator layout file, automatically the first two steps will be done. See here. So defining a layout, okay, XML layout, defining the activity Java class. So activity Java class name is here, is a login activity, and the layout is this one. Okay, because I want to make this as a launcher activity, I can click it. Okay, and then when I finish it, see, it will take little bit of time. Like this. So you can see the Gradle is building. This is just the starting. This is the second day actually. So we will talk about Gradle. We need to talk a lot more about the Android applications. In the next upcoming week, we will move to the next topic. Okay, one by one we will try to cover all the topics. Okay, so we need to wait for some time. If you have any question, you can ask me. We need to wait for it. So as you can see, this is done. Now see what happened. There is a login activity class. You can check it out. This is the login activity class. All right. And the second thing is here, automatically the layout has been created over here. That is the activity login. And you can see the first step is done. That says the defining an XML layout. So we have this XML layout. You can see here an XML layout has been done. Okay. Okay. So XML layout that has been done. And second one is the defining a Java class. So you can see the Java class has been also done. So what is the launcher activity? That the launcher activity, okay, so you can take it in this way. Whenever you launch your application, okay, whenever you launch your application, there should be so suppose in your application you are having 10 activities, okay, okay, and out of this 10 activity you need to make at least one activity that can be run first. For example, in C application, see, when you write the C code, there is a main function, am I right? Okay, or main method. So this method will always run first. Okay, same thing, we need a activity that can be launched first, and from that activity we can navigate from that particular activity to another activity. Okay, so launcher activity is, you can see, the first screen that can be shown to user. Okay, if you get my point, you can okay, thumb it up. Otherwise I will explain it a little bit more. All right. Okay. Now what happened over here, you can see here. So what happened here, you can see this is my login activity and we made it launcher. So you can see here a manifest. See, this login activity has been created over here. Inside the application tag, it will automatically create a login activity, and intent filter is basically used for the navigation. So it says this is the main activity. Sorry, the two login activity has been created. Sorry, the spelling is different. Login. Okay, so we will take this one. Okay, so this is not, this is the last week. We will take this one. This is the see the spelling is difference over here. So as you can see, this is the main activity, okay, and this is the launcher. So this will run first, okay, and for this launcher activity, you can see Two steps is completed. The third step says connect activity with layout. So as you can see out here, what I can do, I can just delete this the last week activity so that it will not create any kind of confusion to us. So I will delete it anyway. So there is no relation between these two. All right. I need to delete. It will be deleted something. Don't worry. So here you can see the first thing. The third step says connect the activity with the layout. Now you can see this is my login activity. And here we are using set content view. Now please focus. Okay. This is the part where you need to keep focus. Okay. When I say focus, please focus. It will cover your concept. All right. Now you can see set content view r dot layout dot activity underscore login underscore activity. So what happened? Which one is binded here? Which one is binded here? You can see r dot layout. Okay. We didn't need this activity. I will just delete this one. This is the last one. Okay. Right. And I'm also going to delete this one also. This is also not what exactly I need. Wait a minute. I will open this manifest. Yeah, it is actually deleted. It is not showing, but it is actually deleted. So what happened, my friend? See, r.layout. See this spelling. Activity underscore login underscore activity. See this one. Now, so this is how you can connect an activity with the layout. So what happened? This particular activity is now connected with this particular layout. Okay. So here the one concept that come, okay, and declare the activity in the Android manifest. This is also done. It is also declared in the manifest. You can see. Okay. So all this 5 steps we have covered. But now please pay attention and please pay focus. Okay. You can answer me as a yes or no. Okay, because we are going live, so there may be a latency, but it is not an issue. So see, this is what basically known as, this is known as the resource. Okay, and this one is the property. Lot of properties available. And this last one is nothing. It's like a value assigned to this property. All right. So this is something that you need to take care. Now, we will design an activity, but if you understand this particular concept of R, that means you will won 30% of battle of Android. Okay. So because in a lot of places that we are going to use this. Now what exactly the meaning of R? Some point to remember. See, when you create an Android application, you can create your Android application either by using Java or by using Kotlin. Okay, but actually at the back, okay, the Java plays a very, very important role. All right, now everything in an Android is Java. So you can see this is the Java code. Why Java? Because Java means it's a programming language. Okay, why we use programming language? So that we can implement our logic. Okay, so that we can implement our logic. Now here everything is Java. That means when I say everything is Java, that means everything. For example, these resources that you might see, for example, inside a drawable, it is an XML file. It look like an XML file, my friend. Okay, it look like an XML file. Okay, yeah, it's an XML file. We know that. See, in a layout, this is also an XML file. Same way in MIP, MAP, okay, if you open it, okay, this may be some kind of web or the PNG file, different types of things. This is also an XML file. Everything is an XML, that mostly in the RES, in most case scenario, it is written in an XML format. But the point to be noted here, whatever you have seen here, internally, all these things is converted into Java code. Confusing? But that's the truth. That is the truth. And why we are using XML format? Because it is very easy to understand. If you are creating a layout, or if you are creating some kind of activity, that if you are creating some kind of screen, okay, you are not going to write this code in Java. Means you cannot represent, you cannot create this user representation in Java. It will be very hard, because Java, you are going to write all in a format of code. You are going to create your views in a format of code. That is going to be very difficult. So that's why what this Android people done, they says, okay, whenever you create any kind of view, that means if whenever you create any kind of layout, okay, you can do it in XML format, and internally this Java Android SDK, okay, Android compiler will convert everything into a Java classes. And what exactly this Java class name? See, this Java class is known with the name of r.java. Okay, so you can see this one. You can see this complete folder, this everything from here. Okay, everything that you are seeing and searching out here, everything from here, okay, whatever that contains RES, okay, it is converted into a class name r.java. And inside this r.java, you have all these drawable is also converted into the r.java's static integers. So I will show you, because I'm just talking theoretically, but let me show you how this basically is done. See, you can press the control key and move your arrow, okay, this pointer here. See, now it will say, it will just enable the link. When I click on it, okay, it is sometime it doesn't work, okay. Because it is restricted to use it, but I will try to show you. It's saying something, okay, not an issue. So what we can do, we can just go to the search and try to search this r.java. We will try to check it out whether r.java is presented, because in the new version it may or may not be presented. Okay, it is not showing, not an issue. Okay, see, if I try to open this app compat activity, say it will open, we know that. But r.java is too much restricted over here, so that's why we won't be open this one. But I'm trying, not an issue. So what happened? You can take it in this way. What happened internally? Okay, what happened internally? See, let me show you. What happened internally? This RES folder. Okay, and what this RES folder contain? It contained drawable folder. Okay, it contained layout folder. All right. It also contains some other folders, but we will take these two examples. Okay, but we will take these two examples. So what happens? This RES, Java and Android runtime and compiler will convert this into r.java. Okay, so it's something look like. So it will something look like public. Okay, let me erase it. It will something look like public class R. Okay, and inside the R, this drawable is converted into public. Let me use different color. Static. Okay, final int. See this signature and this drawable, and with some hexadecimal integer value, whatever the value that is given to it. We didn't know this value, so this is something like the address, or in this address this drawable is stored. Same thing with the layout will happen. Public static final int layout with some hexadecimal value. Okay, now you know that inside the layout, suppose if you want to create a layout and if you want to use a single button, and we know in the XML format this button should have an ID. Okay, that is written something like @+ ID and / the identifier that you give to the ID. What happened? This IDs, all the IDs, whatever the number of layout that you are using, and inside the layout, if you are having any kind of ID, my friend, this is also converted into integer like this. Okay, I'm just confused. No, this layout is basically converted into different way. Wait a minute. It is not converted into the int. It will convert it into class because it's a folder. Na? This is also converted into class. Okay, it will convert it something like this. Public static final class, and this class name is layout because it's a folder. Okay, and inside this, because it's a static and final class, what will happen? And whatever inside the layout we are having an ID, so this will convert it into public static final int, and that int is whatever the ID. For example, the ID, okay, that you have given. Okay, this is a little bit confusing. Wait a minute, let me show you once again how this is structured. Sorry for this one. Okay, so what happened, my friend? It is basically converted something like this. Public static final class R. Okay, so we will talk about layout only. So what is layout? Because it's a folder, it will convert it into inner class. Means class inside class. Final class layout. Okay, so layout represent all the layouts that is available in different activities. So in the login, there we have a one ID, or maybe in the two different activities we have a two different types of buttons available, and you can access those buttons by using the ID. So ID is also going to be so inside the layout, sorry, you all the layout. For example, here in our example, public static final int, that is the login underscore activity. So this is the layout, and its value something, the hexadecimal value. Okay, the same thing happened with the ID. So it is like public static final class ID. Okay, and inside the ID whatever the ID that you have given to your login username, password and button. Let's say I have given this ID value, it's unique identifier as, let's say, the button login. So here this button login will be converted into an integer address, public, static, final, int, this one, button login with some hexadecimal value. So that's why, my friend, if you want to access this login activity, how you can do this? Because this is a final and a static class, you can use R, and this is a static, that means you need to create an object of R. You can use r.layout, or inside the layout there is a layout available, so you can, this is also static, so you can access it directly, that is underscore activity. The same thing if you want to access an ID, a particular ID, so see, it's an R dot, this is the class, okay, it is a final class, R dot ID, and we need to access this particular ID, that is button login, something like this. So this is how things work out here, okay. The same things happen over here. See, there is a R, inside the R there is a class name, inner class name, layout, and inside the layout there is an integer, okay, that is activity underscore login underscore activity. Okay, and it's very simple, my friend. It is pretty simple. If you are confusing, don't confuse. You can simply, whenever you type something like this one, whenever you type something like R dot, see, it will automatically show these are the inner classes available. Okay, lot of things. Okay, and suppose if I use ID, so see, this is also inner class, and here you will get some value, those who are available. Okay, so this is how you can access r.id, r.layout, something like this. Okay, now, so point to be noted here. Now what we can do, we need to make this login activity alive by adding here. What we can do, we will add here two input text. The first one is the username, second one is the password, and we can take the third one is the login button. Okay, so to do this, my friend, what we need to do, we need to move here in the text section. So you can check it out here in the text section. What we are having, just showing an output, we are having a text view, and these all are the class that known with the name of edit text. Okay, edit text is basically Java class, but here it is available in a format of XML. It is available in a format of XML. All right. Now what you can do out here, it's pretty simple. See, you can make a drag and drop of this component over here, and after this, what we need here the button. Okay, we need here the button. So what you can do, you can go here in the button section, so you can use any one of the button. Okay, so I will first make a drag and drop, and then we will check it out how things are working out here. So first I will go to the text and make a drag and drop of a plain text that says the username. So I will go back here and make a C. Now, but before this, wait, if you look out the code, see, there is a code, split and only design. So I will split it. Now you can see we are using a constraint layout. Constraint layout means you can make a drag and drop of your component, something like this. If I make a drag and drop of plain text like this, okay, here like this, if I make a drag and drop, see, this is the name and this is the password, so I can drag and drop it anywhere. Okay, that is a constraint to one another. Okay, we will talk about it later. You can just connect it something like this, so it will give you a design, whatever design you want. But as a beginner, I'm not going to use this. I'm going to use a very simple layout that layout name is the linear layout. Okay, that layout name is the linear layout, and in the linear layout you can display your views, whatever the views that you want to display. All right, either in the vertical format like this. This is the vertical format, means whenever you make a drag and drop of a new component, it will automatically take a new row until it fill this height. Or either what you can do, you can use the column format, it is the horizontal format. So whenever you make a drag and drop, it will means the new component will be added as a column, and once this width is reached, it is of no use. Let me show you with an example. Suppose let's say the first thing come first, I will split it here, and instead of using this constraint layout, see, this is an XML format, but internally it's a Java. If I press the control key and click on this, you can see it will show you the Java code. See, this is the Java. All right, and it is basically derived from a class named the view group. So everything is Java internally. Okay, but because you won't be able to understand this code, and you are going to write everything in a Java, that will be very, very difficult. So what they have done, they have converted this into an XML format, and XML is an extensible markup language where you can create your own tags. Okay, that is something that you need to remember. So here I'm not going to use this constraint layout, and you can see one more thing. This is the constraint layout, and inside the layout, these are the properties, or you can say the instance variable. See, pretty simple. Just look for this particular name and layout underscore width. Okay, so I will open this. So you can check it out here. There is a variable available that says, I will search it out, layout underscore, see, this is available here, layout underscore width. Okay, so same thing, if you just search for the height, it is also available. You are confusing this. Okay, you get confused. So this is the commented, but it is not like that. It is commented because this is basically defined inside its parent class. Okay, let me show you its parent class. You can check it out here. Its parent class is view group. So if I press once again the control, if we move inside here, see, now let me search this one here, that is says layout height. Okay, it is not available here. That means it will available. It's one more parent class. We will try to open it, and we will search it out here. Okay, not available. So it will, okay, it is available directly here. Okay, don't worry. Okay, we can just go to the view class that implement autofill drawing. Okay, here view group width. Okay, now actually it is available here. I don't know why they have commented, but you can find these attributes. For example, I want a background color. It should available here. If it is not, then it will be available in that parent class. This is how things work actually. So what happened, most of the things are already defined. So these are the attribute, and we are using it in an XML format. Now I want to change this into a linear layout. So I will move down here, and I will use linear layout. See, if I type linear, I will use a linear layout like this. Now let's save it, and in the design part, make a drag and drop. Let's, for the purpose to illustrate it, I will make a drag and drop of a button like this. See, button. So you can see this is a button, and if I'm try to make, and I will name this button, let's say, you can open this attribute, and I will name this button. There should be a text available for this. Okay, here I will select the button and you will search here text. See, I will change this button attribute to, let's say, BTN1. So it will show here the BTN1. Why? Because if you split it, we have used one of the attribute of this one that says text. So if you open the button once again, see the button, and if you search for the text, if it is not available here, it will available in the text view. See, it is available in the format set text, this one. Okay, like this one. 169 of is available, so that's why it is available somewhere here, or if it is not, it will available in the view. So point is here, these are basically the attributes. Okay, so here we are having a attribute named text, so it will show some kind of output. Now the point to be noted here, if I want to drag and drop one more button, suppose if I want to make a drag and drop one more button, see, it won't be show. Okay, it will show, not an issue, but it is showing in the column format. See, if I want to make a drag and drop one more button, see, it will just something like this. Now what happened? We are having some bunch of buttons available here, and now you can see the width and height. Width means the width is a wrap content, means whatever have been written over here, wrap it like this, and height will also the wrap content. So, and second value that you can give here is the match parent. So once I use this, see, all the buttons are dragged out, something like this. Okay, so this is means everything should be fitted inside this one particular layout. That is basically the device dimensions. That is basically the device dimensions. So what you can do out here, you can use here something like wrap content. Okay, or instead what you can do, you can use it here, the gravity. Okay, orientation, sorry, orientation will be used for the vertical one, something look like this. Now what we can do out here, we can just delete this. We will delete all the button. You can delete it from here also. Okay, now I will try to make a layout. That says the first one is the username. It's basically the linear layout. Second one is the password, like this one. And third one is the button that says the login. And pretty simple, you can just give the hint. So here edit text, I will give the hint that says the username. And second one for the password, I will give hint that says the password. And third one for the button, I will give login, like this one. And now you can change the ID because you are going to access this edit text in the login activity by using their respective IDs. So you can use here edit text username. You can use here edit text pass. Okay, and here you can use the button login. And very easily you can just use this all these views here in login activity by using their class name. So the first two class name is the private edit text, and I will give it a name edit username, edit pass, and we need a button. Let's say BTN login, like this. Now you can create an object as I shown you in the last week. We can easily create edit username, and here you can use find view by id r.id.edit username. Second one, you can use edit pass, find view by id r.id.edit pass. And third one, we need a button, that is a btn login, that is find view by id r.id.btn login, button login. Okay, and all these three IDs are basically defined here. Edit text un, edit text pass, edit text login. Now what you can do, whenever you just click on the button, you can perform the on-click listener that I've shown you last week. And here simply you can type new, control space, and this is the code that is going to be executed when a user click on this button. But what we do, first we will check the username and password. Simple, we will do the simple one, username and password. If the username is Girish and password is 123456, we can open the new activity, and that activity is known with the name of login activity. So how you can do it out here? See, you can use here string edit username, and you can just use a username. You can use edit un dot get text dot toString password edit pass dot get text dot toString. Okay, and now you can check if I will just I'm not going to check the emptiness. I will just check the value. If the username dot equals the string concept equals, let's say if it is Girish, and if both are true, that is the password dot equals, that is 123456. Okay, here we will move to second activity. All right, else we will throw a toast that says invalid username or password. Okay, and then we'll show a toast for a duration, that's a long, and then show it. Okay, now we need to move from one activity to another activity, but for this we need a new activity. The same process we can follow here. See, you can create a new activity, new, and here you can just move to the new, and I will create once again a new activity that says the empty activity, and I will name this the welcome activity. So this is not going to be the launcher activity because we already have a launcher activity. That name is the login activity. So this is used for the navigation. I will click a finish on it like this. All right, and here you can see in the manifest, see the welcome activity has been created. Now we need to perform a navigation. So to perform a navigation, a very simple concept is basically used. Here, to perform a navigation from one activity to another activity, to another activity, we use the concept of intent. Okay, so what basically we need to do out here, we need to navigate from login activity to welcome activity. Okay, this means this navigation is basically done by using intent. Okay, now, so what kind of information this intent contain? It contain the source, means the origin, and the destination, and it can also contain some data that you will need to transfer from one activity to another activity. So what basically it contain? It contain the source, okay, it contain the destination, and it contains some kind of data. For example, if you want to pass the value of username and password from the login activity, and that can be shown here in the welcome activity. So how we can do this? Pretty simple. To do this, we have a login activity. You need to first create an object of intent. So intent is a class. Let's say I will use intent object by using new intent, and here I will pass the source, that is the login activity, or you can use this, and destination is that is the welcome activity. Dot class, and simply you can call the method from an activity, that's an activity named start activity. And pass this intent here. That's all. Okay, later on we will see how we can pass these values. Okay, so let me come to the desktop and let me try to do the same thing here. So what we can do here, because we already have the welcome activity available. So here what I will do, I will use the concept of intent. First I will create an object of intent, new intent. Okay, the source is the login activity, so you can use login activity dot this. Destination is the welcome activity dot class. Remember this and class, and you can simply use start activity with this intent like this. Okay, and we'll save it. Now let me run this one and let's see whether this is working or not. Okay, so it will take some time. In between, we will cover some more concept here. Now, how we can pass the values? So we have an, okay, for example, we need to pass the username and password. So when you use an intent, there is so many methods available inside this intent. One of the method that basically start with, when you use the dot operator, that means put extra. And here you can pass a key with a value. So value, let's say the username, and I will give it a key, let's say the U. The same thing I can do out here, intent dot put extra. That's the P for the password is a key and password is the value. So you can just pass it and then you can call start activity. Intent. So this is the code that basically we write inside the login activity. Okay, now the point is here. So how the welcome activity can collect these values? Okay, so how it can do? Pretty simple. In the welcome activity, Okay, I will type it in the welcome activity. Because welcome activity extends the app compact activity, you can simply call a method name get intent. So this will return the intent that is coming from the last activity. So I can just create an intent. That's I. Okay. And then you can call I dot get method put to put get, because these are the string. So to retrieve a string, there is a method named string extra, and pass a key. That means u is the key. And for the second one, get string extra, pass a p for the password. Not only this, you can also retrieve get boolean extra, get string array list extra, get float extra, get double extra. So I will show you how you can do this. Let's see whether it is running or not. We need to wait for this. It will take some time. So take a break. So as you can see, we will trying to run this. Now here what we can do when I type a username, that is Girish. Okay, and we need to wait for it, okay, because emulator runs sometimes very slow. And the password, if I type 1 2 3 4 5 and 6, and when I make a login, you can see there is a new page has been opened. Okay, there is a new page that has been opened. Okay, so now you can send this value from one activity to another activity by using the concept of intent. To do this, what I will do in the activity underscore welcome, what we will do, we will simple okay, show an output by making a drag and drop somewhere here that will display the name. So for this case, I am going to use a text view, and this is a constraint layout basically. So for this purpose, it's a one component, so I will just extend it and use a magic band. We will talk about the layouts later on. Okay, so here I need to display that particular name, username. So you can see this is a constraint layout, and we are using a text view component. And here, this is the ID of the text view. Pretty simple. I will move to the welcome activity because it is binded to the activity underscore welcome by using the set content view. And here I will use the edit text view, the text view component. So I will use a text view, let's say TV. And here we can create an object. Very simple process that you need to follow every time. Find view by ID, r.id.text view. And you need to use a concept of as I've shown you that you need to use what exactly this one here. Okay, we need to put extra some value over there, and we need to retrieve this value by using the get intent. All right, so here what we can do, see, in login activity we need to put this value. So I can use here intent dot put extra a key, that's a U for the username, and here we'll pass the username value. And second one, I will use intent dot put extra, and here I will use the P for the password as a key and a password. It's something like the key value pair concept, and we will retrieve this value by using their key, that is U and P. And here in the welcome, what we can do, we can call the get intent. See, get intent, it's a method of the intent. It is already defined inside the app compact activity. and it will return you the intent. Let's say I, okay. And here you can press Alt Enter to import this package. So the package will be imported automatically here. And now you can retrieve the value. The first value that I'm going to retrieve here, that the username, that is you, I will use here I dot get string extra. See this one, and its key is you. Second one, I will use a password like this, I dot get string extra. Here we will use P for the password, that is a key defined inside the login activity. And now we will use the set text tv dot set text to set this value. So here I will use a string. Let's say the username is you, okay, concatenate it, and password is P. Okay, this is something, password is pass, like this. All right, save it and let me run this. Okay, let me rerun this application once again, so you will have an output. So we need to wait for it. So here we can use here the username, let's say Girish, and password is 123456, 123456, and login. So you can see the username is Girish and password is 123456. So this is how you can perform the navigation from one activity to another activity, or more than one activity, by using the concept of intent. All right, so this is all for today. In next week we will talk about the life cycle of an activity. So thanks for watching it, and please don't forget to subscribe this channel. This is very, very important, and you will get a more like video, and we will load videos not only regarding to the Android but also the Python and Spring Boot and Kotlin, React, nearly all the languages. So thanks for watching it, and I hope you enjoyed it.